Making the best of times out of worst of times. Serving up at the breakfast buffet, we have my friend Joey Ghione again. See how him and his school district is dealing with teaching kids during these times. Also, learn about the summer that should have never happened. I hope you all will enjoy.
Hey guys, it's me, Joey, and my grandpa, Joe, here for your jazz tip of the day.
The Storm King said to Jazz, fear the wind, and Jazz said to the Storm King, I am the wind.
That is your jazz tip of the day. Have a great day.
Do it! Play Jazz a call. Major decision, 14-4.
And here we are. How you guys doing today? Another episode of the Breakfast Buffet. Catching up with our very first guest, Joey Ghione. I'm your host, Ray Jazz, like always. And here we are, we're reconnecting. We had a great summer, but like everything, all good things come to an end.
Dude, I'm so
and you're back in Reno, and I'm here back in Jersey.
Dude, it was, you know what? I think what made the summer great was we had to make it fun, right? Like, 'cause we had limited options of like what we could do, so it was on our own terms at all the time. So, and I think it was a combination of things too, man. Like me being home, we got a little freedom from quarantine, and all the boys were back, and weather started to get good. Jersey Shore, the water got a little warmer, and
Pioneer season continued. It was the first time we had like the whole crew back for Pioneer season.
Dude, and you know what? Like, it's crazy because you think when you get older, like those opportunities become like less and less. But we didn't miss a beat this summer,
No,
man.
we didn't miss a beat. Like we said, we took the opportunity that was given to us. We followed the rules and we still had fun.
We definitely had fun, and it's crazy because I'm back in Reno now, and I left for Reno a little bit towards like the middle of July. Like I think I left July 21st.
Yeah, you left end of July. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, I was like, dang, I don't want to go back, like, cause I'm here having fun with my friends. I'm sitting on a lifeguard stand every day, and it's like I had some freedom, and I'm at the beach every day, and then at night I'm with my boys hanging out, and then, all of a sudden I get shipped back to Reno. I'm like, dang, it's like back, cold hard reality. I'm back in school.
Cold hard reality.
Oh, dude, but that's it wasn't reality. Like what we were doing with the summer, and people don't realize what the summer in the Jersey Shore is like. Like they don't, if you're not from Jersey, you don't know what it's about. Like, so what I had to realize is like what I was doing is not reality. It was a false sense of reality. Like you can't wake up every day and go to the beach and hang out at night for your whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about you being a teacher. It's like you have the summers off, and you could go back to Jersey and be a lifeguard and live at the Jersey Shore.
I'm living bi-coastal. It's pretty cool, actually.
That is the lifeguard life, and that's something in it itself, huh? I remember when you first came home, you didn't even know you were gonna lifeguard, so it was great that they had that, and it was awesome, right?
Yeah, well, it was definitely sketchy in the beginning, and then I think people out of nowhere are just like, enough is enough, man. Like we need to at least have a little bit of summer, if we're gonna, that things are probably gonna shut down a little bit during winter, like because it's just.
Well, that's natural because not a lot of people are probably gonna go out and everything. It was like really the only place for people to go during this quarantine was the beach, so I feel like there was a lot more people down there because of it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, like all these people who usually go to the city or go to like the mountains or go to like, Six Flags, all that was closed. So, and the only thing that was open was the beach. And dude, at Jenks, some days we were capping out like probably close to like 60,000 people. Like we were capping out. It was crazy. So, but you know what, man? Like people
made the most of it, right? They got family fun, time in the sun, getting on the beach. Like it was like we said, it was really the only thing you could really do, right? You could still social distance on the beach and stay with your family, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a great summer, and it's like, so I hate the end of August and early September because it's like the funeral of summer. So
It
I just,
feels like August always feels like a Sunday night.
yeah,
Because once September hits, it feels like a Monday.
yeah. Yo, that's the perfect way of putting it, and that's
Yeah.
true. And I'd rather just go straight into Tuesday and get into fall.
You're right into the swing of things. It feels
Yeah.
like September, at least when I was back in college and high school. It's like, oh man, September's like, it's a little bit different because you're getting on the new routine. So it's like, yeah, once October hits, you're in the flow of things.
Yeah, it is what it is, man, and it's I'm back into a routine now, just because we started school already, and it feels nice. I'm not gonna lie, it feels nice to be
It
back.
feels nice to be on a routine, right? When did you guys start? You guys started August, right?
So I had to be back for some meetings in late July. The start date originally was, oh man, it was it was crazy. My principal is the best principal in the world. Like, she spent all summer working, and that's someone who I look up to, who is dedicated to their craft to the T. So she did all the research, like how to open up safely, all the protocols. She didn't miss a dot. Like, you can ask her a question like, what if this happens? And she's on the dot with that. But the hard thing is, the governor wouldn't. You know how Murphy at home, he's on the TV every day, right? He's on TV whatever time every day. This guy out here, Governor Sisolak, he comes on like, he'll say the day before, like, oh, by the way, I'm coming on tomorrow. But like, it would be like once every 2 weeks or once a week, and you never know when it is. So this guy would be like coming on and be like, oh yeah, by the way, if your school is opening, like, you need to be delayed 2 weeks, or you need to like push it up 2 weeks. And it's like, it's almost like he never made up his mind. And it was crazy, man. So I originally was going to stay a little bit into August, and then I got a phone call from my principal saying, hey, like, we're opening up early because the governor said we need to open up early just in case COVID gets bad in the middle of winter. We got a bunch of
some days in.
Yeah. So I went out there, and then the day I landed, or the day after, one of the two, the governor like pushed back all the dates to the start date. And we're like, wait a second. So now I'm out here, I'm like, dang, like, I just came back like a month early.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a few meetings, and we did our first official start of school was last Monday.
Yeah. At least you guys had that time to make a plan, right? You guys kind of made a plan, right?
Yeah, we did. But I mean, we made a bunch of plans just because we knew how Murphy at home is very like, this is how it's going to be, and he doesn't really like stray away from it. This guy is all over the place. So we had to make a bunch of plans, and I had to make a bunch of revisions to IEPs, and because I'm a sped teacher, so that was a pain because I'm like redoing all this paperwork, and I'm used to being on the beach every day, and now I'm stuck in my office every day. So
you're losing your tan. You lost your tan.
I lost my tan like the first week, dude. I'm so angry.
Oh man. And even you guys, are a charter school? So you guys really aren't a private school, or what is a charter school over there?
So a charter school, yeah. So it's almost like the private school for back home.
Right.
We only have in Reno, we only have 2 Catholic schools.
Yeah. So do they have to follow the guidelines of a public school, or they could basically make their own rules? How does that go about?
So it's basically you have so out here it's Washoe County School District. That's the county that we're in. Mm-hmm. But we're not under them. We're under the state charter authority. So we do follow some protocols that are the same, but it's not necessarily the same. The problem with the state charter authority is they base everything out of Vegas, and that's something that I realized here. It's like 2 different states out here. It's really weird. Not in a way of like a rivalry, but it's like a lot of big companies are based out of Vegas, and they get all their insurances for Vegas based, and they make all these rules for Vegas based, but we are not Vegas. Like, how I describe Nevada is it's, from Jersey to South Carolina with Area 51 in the middle. So it's like, you can't base everything off of Vegas. So they're basing the COVID rules off of Vegas's numbers, but we're not Vegas. So it's like, it's really weird how they go about it.
Yeah.
And same governor too. He bases a lot of things off of Vegas, even though the capital is closer to Reno. It's only like 15 minutes away from Reno, but
yeah. So you're saying like your area compared to Vegas, like night and day. I guess it'd be the same as comparing like a South Jersey town to New York City, basically, right?
yeah,
Except
absolutely.
you guys are even further miles apart, huh?
And that's frustrating to us because it's like sometimes the decisions they make, it's like it shouldn't apply to us,
Yeah.
But
And then you being a special ed teacher, you working with, a lot of those kids, they need that attention. They need that attention even more, right? It's not like you could go on virtual with them every day. Are they coming into school now? What's happening there?
So, well, my principal decided, and like I said, she did a great job. She split the school into 3. So you're either a blue cohort, a gray cohort, or a green cohort. And the grays stay home 24/7 virtual, and that's their choice. What they had to do is basically sign a waiver saying like, hey, like, Doral is not based off of a virtual model. Like it's not going to be an optimum learning experience, but we will do our best, right? So and then you have the blue cohort that comes in Monday, Tuesday, and then you have the green cohort that comes in Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday you can't go in the building because they sanitize it. So theoretically, it's a pretty good model. I mean,
that is, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
It's a plan, you know what I mean? It's a plan and it's a schedule, and I feel like people will adhere to it more because at least it's something, right?
Oh my God! And you know what? Like, it's crazy the amount of kids that return to school or that didn't take gray cohort. Like they're in school because parents are like, you think parents want to have their kids home for 6 months, man? Like, and you know what? Kids need it. Like we're seeing, I'm gonna be interested in seeing how much this mentally took a toll on the kids, because the kids can't be like us and go out whenever we want and do whatever we want and hit the beach or whatever. Like some of these kids, the first time they left their house in 5 months. So it's like, I'm really interested to seeing like behavior wise how it all goes, and so far so good with everyone, but a lot of kids, they were either like really jittery and excited and they didn't know how to like contain it, and then the other kids were like, what the heck's going on? Like I totally forgot about like how to walk in the hall. Like, so it's like, it's really weird, so
yeah, getting them adapted again, right?
Yeah. And you know what, like I'm curious to see like numbers of like how this mentally affected people, like how COVID mentally affected people, not just from a scare standpoint, but like anxiety, depression and stuff like that. Because I work with kids who have a bunch of mental disorders as well. So I'm really interested to see if like their anxiety levels went up or down, or they're not feeling right. So I'm very curious to see. I haven't serviced kids yet. I don't service kids till after Labor Day because we're doing paperwork right now. But I'm interested.
Yeah, really? Definitely. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in it. And it affects like every student now. It's not even like one state, or it's everyone. And that is interesting, especially at your grade school level, because what grades you work with?
I usually do 3 through 5, but this year I'm doing 4 through 6. So these kids, they're at the age where they kind of understand what's going on, but they don't have much control over what they do. Right?
Yeah, because high school kids, I mean, you could go out, you could hang out with your friends, ride a bike. Some kids are still driving. Even kids in college are still driving. They could get around, do what they need to do. But kids, like, they need their parents to get rides. I'm curious to see if carpooling is still going to be a thing with kids, because some kids carpool to schools, right? How are the buses? Are buses still picking kids up? Like,
so we don't do transportation. We never did transportation. So parents have to drop them off, and the kids have to get their temperatures checked before they get into school. So that's the thing that we don't have to worry about, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to do that with buses, because a lot of kids rely on buses, right?
And that's small places,
Yeah.
I will say, though, it is nice when you break the school in half. It's like you walk into a class and there's only like 9-10 kids, and it's like, wow, it's nice and quiet,
Yeah. And you could probably focus on each individual a lot more, right?
And you know what? I found out my kids that I service had a great week because it's less stimulating for them, right? A lot of students I work with have like sensory problems and disorders. So when it's loud or it's bright and everything's going on at once, they they lose their focus and it irritates them a little bit. But what I learned is they performed great this week. I talked to their teachers and I was like, man, it was night and day from last year because they can focus and it's quiet and it's relaxed and I don't know how it is at home for them yet because it hasn't been too long, but you know, as far as in class, they're doing great.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it helps the teachers and students not take the these moments for granted. Now you're in there, you might as well you have to get in and learn.
Yeah.
You have to get in and teach. I feel like with people, I mean, even with me, it's like when you get in a routine, you overlook a lot of things. So now when you're actually back to teaching, you probably focus a lot more on what you have to do, and you probably care. Not that you didn't care before, but you put in more focus and time into each kid and really wanting them to learn now because they were kind of like not deprived from it, but they didn't have it like they did. Was it 5-6 months now?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of teachers are playing catch up too, because these kids, the learning experience when you're all virtual isn't the same as when you're in person, and everyone knows that. It's not a secret. We did our best at Doral, and Doral got praised from the state, like all over the state, how we did things compared to like the school district. Like we did it a way better model, and it was way more effective. And parents that had children in the school district still compared to Doral, because some families they can't get like their whole family into Doral, so half their kids are going to a local public school, and half of them are going to Doral. And they're like, it's night and day of what you guys did compared to the public school. So, it's really, but a lot of kids are still missing core concepts because you can't really learn through a computer. It's really hard. Yeah.
I feel like it's that, and then it's all about the teacher too. Like my buddy Pedro Donez, he adapted great to this time. He actually won Teacher of the Year. He started a YouTube channel, and it came from his kids. He learned every day. All right, so I have to be virtual. So he set up this whole like nice camera system and everything with a blackboard behind him. I think he's a math teacher, but I watch his videos. I'm like, man, I'm learning some stuff here. But he cares. He cared. He made it his mission. Oh, okay, this is virtual learning. I'm going to put in my full effort here, and I'm going to find ways. Yeah. And what he did was he did trial and error. You know what I mean? He learned, he learned from the students what they wanted, what's working, what's not working, and he improved each and every week. So, for him, he adapted. I tell him, I say, I always give you credit. I got to get you on the show. Yeah, Pedro Donez, Teacher of the Year, New York City too. He's in the Bronx, New York City. Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, you guys should talk. He's the man. He's a good dude. And he has two kids.
Wow. So he was loaded. And you know what? He's probably going to be doing that for a little bit because New York City's not going to be opening up their schools.
Yeah, well, he was telling me like last week, he goes, if you don't, I'm ready for it. He says, prepared to teach these kids. And that's great to see, honestly. Great to hear.
That's good. And you know what? We need people like that are just ready to go. And it's not convenient for anyone. Like that's nothing's convenient anymore. So you might as well just bite the bullet and make it hard.
Yeah. Find a way, right? Finding a way.
Yep. You have absolutely, man. And that's what we did this summer, and that's what I'm gonna do moving on. And you know what? The problem is, man. Like I don't see this ever ending. Like I feel like this is like a bad dream now. You know what I mean? It's like not from a school standpoint, but just like a life standpoint. It's like
a person standpoint, a society standpoint, right? Yeah.
And we talk a lot, man. Like society's in a weird spot right now, especially in the United States. I'm sure it's weird in other countries too, but like, I mean, do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
I heard of him. Yeah. He's a Canadian guy, right?
Very famous psychologist.
And
he was talking about it, man. Like he was like, America is not really a great place right now. Like it's, you have to. It's almost like it's very divided now, and it's almost to the point of no return in some aspects where it's like, people aren't seeing eye to eye, and it's like, pandemic. In my opinion, felt political at some points, and I was like, it's really weird times right now, dude.
Definitely, and I think what what is weird about the situation is, no one's willing to talk or have any sort of dialogue or making plans, right? And having people's opinions and hearing them out and just collaborating, right?
Well,
Sitting down and collaborating.
I think the problem is it's like, you have these two sides, right? And it's pretty obvious what the two sides are in anything. But in all honesty, the truth is always in the middle. It's usually in the middle. So it's like, but the two sides aren't willing to talk it out. And like, we're not getting anywhere as a society. And it's like, you're looking at countries in Europe that are opening up and it's like no big deal and they're carrying on with their life. And it's like, you look at America, it's like, what the heck's going on?
Right.
Dang.
Yeah, it is a crazy time for sure. But I think if people get together and have a plan, like your school district seems like, it's getting together and they have the plan. And I feel like it's a team effort now. The students and the teachers all in your school, you guys are probably rallying around each other now, right?
Absolutely. And we were all on the same board, like,
Right.
or, we were all on the same side. And, when our principal was like, hey, this is going to be our plan. It was just like, all right, cool. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, because there's a higher purpose. You guys' purpose is to educate these kids any way you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be an argument. It's like we're trying our best to help give these kids an education,
Yeah.
and that's you guys are all working together to do that. And I feel once stuff does start opening up and people realize, oh man, I took a lot of this for granted, I feel like a lot of people will start working together to get these common goals down. And I think it starts with the schools, right? Collaborating to give these kids an education.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know what? That's the thing, man. Like, once things start opening up, like, we got to hit the ground running again as a society. Yeah. Like, we got to find a way to come together a little bit and just, like what we did. It was like, hey, this is our plan. Like, we got it. We all have to be on board or else it's not going to work.
Not going to work, right? Yeah.
That's what we had a conversation about, like, the first day. It's like, if we are not all on board, this plan's going to crumble. Like,
right.
Everyone's just like, let's do it. Like, some people were nervous, some people were concerned, but they jumped on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, and definitely, I feel like there's some things that will kind of change for the better because of this whole situation. Like, there were some parts, for example, the airlines, right? It was like sometimes those flights were too crowded and everyone was on top of each other. So, like, when we took a flight, it was like two people maybe to a section, maybe one. You had your masks on, and they literally gave you, bag, food in a bag, like snacks and a water. So it's like, it's not dirty or anything. I felt like it was cleaner being on those than compared to before the whole pandemic, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Airports, dude, it is the best. And I'm gonna go out there and say it on record. It is one of the best times to travel right now. As far as
yeah.
It really is, dude. Like, it is so sanitized all the time. Like, because airports are crazy about sanitation now. There's half the people on the airplane. It's actually, like, really nice and convenient.
Flights are cheap.
Flights are really cheap, too. I just bought 2 flights. I bought one flight home for Thanksgiving and one for fall break in, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks.
Right, you could buy your tickets cheap and you can fly whenever, right?
Yeah, dude, whenever.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah.
You had to pick a date, or you could do, is there like I'll pay for my ticket now, pick a date later? Or no, you have to pick a date.
You got to pick a date, but the thing is, like, I have this app. It's called Hopper, and I don't book the flights through it, but it gives you like flight predictions. It's like, oh, like Reno to Newark is now dropped to $219, but we predict that the prices are going to go up soon. And you give them like a date, and they're like, book now if you can. And they're usually right, and it's pretty how they can predict that stuff. So I get the notifications on my phone, and so I put in like the few dates that I'm looking at going home, and then like, this is cheap, but Philly's cheaper right now. So it's like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's good saving money, especially now. You're more cognizant of money, especially our age now. Scott Delvecchio gave me a nice lesson in finances, and I I had it wrong the whole time. I had it reversed, but he helped me out, man. I'm so glad he helped me out.
I might need him to talk to me because I've been blowing money. Like
He'll set you straight. He'll give you the art of saving.
I need it, dude. Because whenever like I'm chilling at home, like I'm bored, like because there's very limited things you can do still.
Yeah.
So like whenever I'm home, like I'm scrolling, I'm playing Xbox, I'm on my laptop, I'm like, oh, these are nice shoes. I see an advertisement. All of a sudden, next day, I got like a brand new pair of shoes that I really didn't need, and I'm like, oh, there goes $120.
Or a hat. I was big at buying hats and shoes and sunglasses. Sunglasses was a big thing this summer.
Well, yeah, that's a thing too, because I would just lose them straight up. Like especially when I'm lifeguarding, because I jump into the water to save people with my glasses on. It's like I forget all the time. But yeah.
Was there more or less saves this year? Or about the same?
I would say it's about the same.
Yeah.
I would say the average day was more crowded. But the crowded days, like Sundays, weren't as crowded as before. But dude, we had some days where it was like, what the heck is going on? Like it's so packed. But it was fine. I mean, Jenks followed protocol of like when how many people should be. They're good about that stuff.
Yeah.
So they followed protocol of like half capacity and stuff like that. But it was still like, dang, there's a lot of people here today. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, I felt like the Jersey Shore was like not normal, but as normal as it could have been during this time compared to other places in New Jersey.
Dude, and you know what? Compared to other places in the world, I came out here and it's still like, it's not necessarily the same, but what I felt like when I was home, it was pretty similar to normal. It was just, you just had to be a little bit more innovative about where you were going and
where you're going and being next to people, right? And washing your hands and wearing a mask in buildings, And, I feel like right now it's kind of like a respect thing now. I feel like, if you're going inside a place and there's other people there, you don't know, what they have or you have, just put a mask on, whatever, deal with it, put your hand sanitizer on and get your stuff and then, get out or sit down and eat, right?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm wondering is like, when do you think we won't have to like wear masks anymore?
I don't know. I think people are still going to be wearing them for a couple of years. I'm sure there'll still be some people wearing them. Sometimes precautions are still there. I mean, in New York City, when I was there was people wearing masks on the subway and stuff. It wasn't a lot, but there's still people doing it. So I feel like more people will start wearing them now, even if they don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Nevada, dude, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's so hot. And so when you have a mask on and it's like 102 degrees and you're like sweating and it's like, it's the worst. You feel like you're suffocating. Because you have to wear them we have to wear them like when we're outside doing like duty. So like when I'm doing crosswalk duty and it's 3:00 in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon, that's the hottest time in Nevada. It's like
you guys are in the valley too, right? So it's like
and I'm like, it's hot, man. And you were out here for a little bit, and when you were out here, it was cold. It was relatively
it was weird. It was like what, June, and it was cold.
Yeah, but all quarantine, it was super hot. It was a weird time. And
do you have to wear masks when you're teaching? Do your students have to wear masks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in the building in Nevada in general, you have to wear a mask.
Is there issues for your students? So you said some of them have, sensibility and everything. Is it hard for them to hear and understand what you're saying with a mask on?
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely throws a spin into things, just because when I teach phonics, you need to see how I'm pronouncing these words, and and when you have a language disability or a language barrier, you need to see how I'm pronouncing things to them, or they need to see how I'm pronouncing it to them. So, and especially sometimes they look at my mouth while I'm talking, and that's kind of the way they understand me sometimes. So it's like they don't have that anymore. It's like it will cause problems. It will cause problems. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, throw a wrench into things, especially, if those kids need it. They need to see what you're saying. Yeah.
And you know what? The thing I found, I'm the one fiddling with my mask more than my students.
Hmm.
Like my
Yeah, because
students.
you're talking all the time and, you're moving around.
Yeah, and I'm like
Well,
touching
you
my
got to
face.
be like a typical Jersey guy. Just talk with your hands, and then and then they'll understand what you're saying.
Dude, and people don't understand, like, when you're from Jersey, like, it's not like a place you're from, it's like part of who you are. It's like a
It's a lifestyle,
personality trait and a lifestyle.
personality trait.
It is. That's how I describe it to people. It's like we
Yeah.
have attitude that, like, we use our hands. It's a weird place, but I love it.
Jersey Joey, they call you out there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I really didn't want to leave, but I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to see my students again too.
Well, you like the mountains. My favorite place was Tahoe. I loved Tahoe, man.
Tahoe is really cool. But right now Tahoe is like smoked. It's like it's almost like the Jersey Shore up there right now. Like it's packed. But the thing is, it's not. Tahoe is not made for like that many tourists. Like the Jersey Shore is made for like millions of people pumping through. Like Tahoe's not like that. Tahoe's a beautiful lake that like has a few cabins, has a few restaurants, but like it's smoked right now. You'd be lucky if you can get a spot on the beach where like we went that one time.
Right.
I mean, people are getting in line to get into that little parking lot at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
Like it's crazy. But it's beautiful out here, man. Like.
Yeah, it was nice. I liked it. And you were right about the sun. You're like, yeah, you better put sunscreen on. You're gonna get burnt. I was like, it's only 70 degrees. What are you talking about?
Yeah, when you're 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet in elevation, you're closer to the sun, man. You're a mile high, so you're closer to the sun. But you know what? Like, it is beautiful. It is beautiful out here. It's a good. And you know what? We talked about this the other day. It's so much easier starting a life out here or in a different place besides like California or the East Coast, really. So I have opportunities out here, but Jersey's always my home.
Oh yeah, and like you said, since you're a teacher, you could always go home during the summer, holidays, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like I was telling you, you go out there, you start your own thing, you start your own path, and you really learn all about yourself, a whole lot more about yourself.
Well, yeah, dude, and like, this is my second year, and it's totally different than my first year already. So just learning how to, and I watched a Joe Rogan thing on this the other day. It was like learning how to be comfortable being alone is like an art in itself.
Right.
So it's like you're always your mind is always either consciously or subconsciously processing things. Right. And if you're never alone, like you never process anything, like I had a lot of life changes, prior to summer and during the summer. And when I came back here, I was like, whoa, like I have some things I need to sort out. But I never did that because I was always, at the beach or with my boys. Like,
yeah, you always had your mind off. Yeah.
And then once I came back here, I was like, man, I got a few things I need to work on.
New version of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about being alone sometimes because I drive all the time. You always see me. I'm always in my car. So sometimes I just if I have a long drive, I shut the music off and just process stuff alone. That's when I'm the most creative with, my marketing techniques, social media stuff. Not that I'm on my phone, but just thinking about stuff I could do. You know what I mean? Ideas and stuff that I could do. Situations, how I could coach, how I could make myself better at wrestling. How I could be better, how I could be a better friend, stuff like that. Sometimes I just do that in my car. I shut the music off and just think about it, Well,
another thing I realized too about when you're alone is like, you find out how much you were, like some of the things you were avoiding this whole time. I had a few things I was avoiding and I was like, well, there's nowhere to run anymore. There's nowhere to distract myself. Like these are some things that are inevitable that I have to avoid. Don't delay the inevitable, So
just today, don't avoid the inevitable.
So that's the thing, man. Like some of these things you have to sort out, and it's like it's really hard.
Yep.
And you know what? Like some of the things that I haven't sorted out, like when I first came and I was like, this is a problem in my life, and I still haven't figured it out, but I definitely made progress. But what I realized is being distracted doesn't necessarily help you grow. It just helps you feel better. those alone uncomfortable times where it's like you're bored and I'm 2,000 miles away from everyone and no one's answering my FaceTime calls because it's like 1 a.m. there and it's 10 here, and I'm like, you know what, like you just gotta turn and face the music sometimes. And
Yeah.
hard thing is
Wise man once said, "Figure it out."
figure it out, pretty much. Yep. And just like you just gotta figure it out, you know. So
Yeah, it was funny. The saying in the summer was the anxiety, sweep it under the rug.
yeah,
Now September, now September's here. You got to open the rug up and clean underneath the rug
it's
a little
Monday.
bit, right?
It's Monday.
Well, you got to clean underneath the rug.
Absolutely. You know what? And that's funny too, because me and you we were together 99% of the time, and Paisan was with us too, and he had some life changes as well.
Yeah.
We were all together, and like I don't think one of us even thought about like any problems. It's really hard to think about things that you're having trouble with when you're having fun.
When you're having fun, you're with your friends. Yeah.
Really,
It felt like we were 20 years old again.
it really did. It was like because it was a combination of like you couldn't really like go out and like grab a drink with your friends because a lot of bars were closed, and the only thing you could do is like hang out around the house. And you know, my house is
Talk, reconnect, because
yeah.
we haven't really all saw each other for months, you know, really.
Yeah, and it was a combination of like being cooped up and you know not seeing each other, and I definitely had a bunch of anxiety like built up from like starting a new job, moving across the country, and I finally got home. I was like, yes, I'm like with the boys again. Started all with
we were safe. We were safe. We got tested. We were clear. We were all clear.
Yep, and none of us got sick or you know had any symptoms the whole summer, and you know that's all. Plus,
knock on wood. For me, I got a week left of summer.
almost now. I had the antibodies, so I felt all right this whole summer. But you know what? Like we really did make the most out of this summer, and especially having Paisan with us too was fun. He's a trip, man. It all started with South Carolina.
Yeah.
It all started with that. The people don't know. We went down to South Carolina because
visit Casey, go visit my cousin, help her out down there, move her things around because she was moving into a new spot. You know,
it was really nice, and that's how we started off the summer. It was like we're gonna make the most out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not gonna sit around and wait. And then 2 weeks later, I think we flew to Reno, or the next week, one of the two.
2 weeks. 2 weeks later, yeah.
2 weeks later, and we went to Reno. And
like you said, we took extra precautions. We followed the protocols they gave us, so we were safe with it.
Yeah, and we did everything. We did everything that was inside.
Yeah, we did stuff that we wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't the pandemic. Like if we were all working, we probably would have never been able to really do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Like it's not like, you know, we followed every rule we had to follow, and
we weren't reckless with that. We made sure we were respectable and everything.
Yeah, and we did what was inside of the rule books, but we just extended the rule book a little bit. It was like people were just like, I'm never leaving Jersey. I'm never leaving. Like, you know, you can leave. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because if we waited around in Jersey, like our summer wouldn't have got started until like halfway through June. That's a month of summer, man. Month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That's time you don't get back, especially if you're only home for, you know, 2.5 months. Like,
yeah, and it wasn't like we just went down there. Like we said, we went down to South Carolina to help out my cousin, and then we went to Reno to help you move and get situated over there. You know, resituated.
Yeah, because I had a teacher conference too, so we were doing that too, and you know, it was a good summer, man. I had a great time.
I'm glad we do it. No stones unturned.
No stones unturned. The only thing is, I don't know if I would do it again, but hopefully next summer everything's open again.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Hopefully soon, right?
And that's the thing about society now. It's like, who knows? It's so unpredictable now. Like everything I thought would never happen is happening. I'm like, oh my god.
I think we need more positivity.
We do. So and the thing that you have to do is like you really just gotta stay busy. Like so for me, I picked up Jiu Jitsu, and so did you.
Yeah.
You know, I picked up Jiu Jitsu, and it's just something that, you know, instead of like doing all the other things, it's like, well, this is something positive that I can work towards. And I think, in my opinion, I think Jiu Jitsu is a little bit more, especially where we're at in our life, where we just wrestle like,
It's
15.
definitely an art. It definitely makes you think more.
Yeah, it's like human chess.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think it's for where we're at in our life. I think jiu-jitsu is a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's because it's not the grind that you get from wrestling, but it's still a similar feeling of like,
Yeah. Makes you think more.
it makes you smarter.
Makes you smarter because you gotta, one move at the X. When I wrestled, it was just go, 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 go. Try to tire him out. Bang on the head. Get a single leg.
Yeah, exactly.
If you move too fast, you get caught. You get
Yeah.
caught real quick.
And that's what, and I think it's better on my body. It's a great workout, but it's you're not, at the end of the day, you're not like, you don't have that wrestling feeling where you like can't get up off the mat. You're like in this like weird trance. Like, I feel like after wrestling practices, sometimes my heart would be beating like through my eyes.
Right.
Like, you don't get that with jiu-jitsu, but you had a really good workout and you still get like a little pump and you're sweating a lot. So
yeah.
Hopefully it's something that can take me to some other opportunities.
Yeah. My forearms are always get pumped there. I'm always grabbing and everything. Yeah.
It's fun, man. It's really fun, especially, and you met Max out here.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
Great coach or sensei, whatever they call it, right?
Yeah, I think I call him sensei just to mess with him, but he's a professor here.
He's a professor.
I don't know what the difference is, but for people who don't know, Max McGarr, he opened up Renzo Gracie Reno out here, and he got his black belt from John Danaher. And for people who don't know who that is, it's like basically getting your black belt from like Cale Sanderson.
Yeah.
So he knows his stuff, and he's a great dude. He's from New York.
Yeah. Not only knowledgeable on the mats, but definitely as a person. Yeah, we sat down and talked to him. He has a lot of knowledge. I want to talk to him on here. We got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's very he's very to himself, but he's a great dude, man. He's like a big brother to me in a lot of aspects. Like, some days I just go in and just chat with him about life. Like, I won't even talk about jiu-jitsu, and it'd be like, and the funny thing is, we have that relationship where he's like, we'll talk about like things in life, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm ready to leave. He's like, oh, by the way, you suck today. And you're like,
a subtle thing.
Like, we have a family there at Renzo Gracie, and that's who I hang out with mostly. Like, when I'm out.
Yeah, it is. It's like your team. You know what I mean? And that's cool that you have that over there. It's a common thing, especially when you're out there with your career. You have this team and that you go out with, and some friends that you mingle with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I have Jano, who I run Silver State Wrestling Academy with, and that's going well.
Especially now, I'm sure wrestlers want to pick it up over there.
Well, because, a lot of little kids, like, their rec leagues are getting canceled, like, all these, like, their all leagues, but now, wrestling and jiu-jitsu doesn't necessarily get canceled. We have to take precaution about it, of course.
It's funny, Zach was saying this, I don't know if he tweeted or reposted, he goes, kids are going to have to find a way like we did in the 80s. We just threw mats outside and started wrestling each other.
Seriously. That's what you got to do, but we're giving them an opportunity to do that. Obviously, we're following the CDC guidelines and their state protocol, and
I think a lot of kids are doing that, though. I see a lot of high school kids. They're just buying. They have their parents buy mats, and they're wrestling in their backyards or in their garages, and they're going at it, man. Dude, some of them, man, they're still finding ways to get better, and it's great to see.
I know, and I know, like the Reno Fire Department out here just put a mat in their headquarters, because like they have to, firemen can't really go down because right now wildfires are crazy right now. Yeah. So we need all hands on deck, especially in that aspect. So
they got to keep their training up, right?
And they can't really. They're pretty strict on social distancing. Like department here, because if you come down with COVID, man, like. If we have an outbreak in the fire department, it's bad news for us.
How is it over there with the wildfires? Is it crazy?
Dude, it's really bad. And the crazy thing about 2020, I saw it online. It was like we had a fire NATO in Northern California. So Northern California is on fire, like straight up. Like the whole Northern California is on fire. I'm only 20 minutes from Northern California. So there's a tornado in the fire.
What?
In Northern California, and it like blue
Goes
everywhere.
up. Wow.
It's crazy. It's almost like a foggy day in Jersey, but it's
Uh-huh.
like all the time now, and it smells and gives you a headache, and it's like
There's ash everywhere. Like that's something weird in the East Coast. We don't experience that, but I guess West Coast does it. It happens pretty regularly, right?
and like schools actually got canceled for it. And which is weird because your school, like whether you're at school or not, you're still breathing in smoke, but your
Yeah.
school definitely have better ventilation system than your house. So,
Yeah.
but it's like it's really weird, man. It's almost like doomsday. Like a bomb just hit and like the soot and everything is just hanging over you, and
Uh-huh.
it gets really. Sometimes it cools off, but sometimes it gets really hot underneath it because it's like a layer, and it's
Right.
like, and it like creates this like little bubble and it's super.
And that's probably something you got to get used to too, huh? For you, it's like from a Jersey guy coming here. It's like when people come here and see snow for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm like, but everyone here
But-
carries like nothing's going
Yeah.
on. Like, dude, the world is burning down around us, and it's like no one cares. It's like this is normal. But it's been, dude, it's been like it's been like 3 weeks, and I don't know what caused it. I think it was lightning,
Uh-huh.
but it's been bad, man. Like my aunt and uncle travel a lot, and they had to go all the way to Oregon coast to like get out
Get
of.
away from it. Yeah.
There was still smoke on the coast.
Right. And that was something that was interesting, talking to your aunt and uncle, man. They were great. They're true Reno pioneers.
Yeah.
They got that big van and they travel around with it.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like we were joking before, what are your hobbies besides wrestling and working and lifting and hanging out with your friends? I'm like, oh, let me think. Oh, I don't know. I guess podcast and
Yeah, like we don't have
but but your aunt and uncle, man, that's hobbies, man. They go camping, they go mountain biking, they go fly drones around. Like, now those are hobbies. I told your aunt, I'm like, wow, you opened my eyes up to a lot more hobbies that I didn't think there was.
Dude, but you got to think about
Fly
it.
fishing, all this stuff.
Dude, everything. One wheeling, they had Harleys for a little bit, and now they go fishing, and then they go hiking everywhere, and then they got into these e-bikes that are
E-bikes, that was the
expensive
thing. Yeah.
bikes that like helps them pedal. And it's like but it's like this. You know what? When you're in Jersey, you're in a state that takes 2.5 hours from top to bottom to get to, right? So it's like, or 3 hours. Say 3
I think
hours,
it's
right?
3 hours, maybe more depending on traffic. Yeah.
So the county that I'm in is bigger than New Jersey.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
It's 9 million people in it. So we don't really have room for hobbies. It's like, oh, I go to the beach. Like that's about it. Well, so like our hobbies consist around like people because there's so much people around us. So it's like
Right.
I really like to do like cook-offs or like I like to hold like barbecues or like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Sunday dinners, like I like cooking, like or like going to the beach or all these things. And out here it's like, yeah, we're in the city. Like Reno's pretty big. It's like, it's comparable to like like an average city. But then like outside of that is like ginormous mountains that like you have all this like we don't have that in Jersey. We can't escape.
It was beautiful when driving on the highway in Reno. You just see mountains. It was great.
Yeah, like because you can escape, and then you have that free time. Like you can go shooting up there, you can go mountain biking, whatever. And then, in Jersey, you
So
go,
much room for activities.
yeah, right. You go 2 hours, like you're just in New York City or Philadelphia. It's like, oh, all right, well, so.
Where's the nearest restaurant or bar? Philly.
Super
Like when you're, when you're in those cities, right? That's what it's really like. But when you're out there, it's like, all right, what can we do? Oh, let's try this. Let's try mountain biking. Let's try hiking. I mean, you could hike in Jersey, but it's different.
It's like you're walking on the path, honestly, compared to this. Like you're in a mountain.
Climbing, a lot of climbers too. A lot of climbers over there, right?
Climbing's getting really big out here. So a lot of people from California move from California to Reno.
Yeah.
So, and they bring all these like crazy activities to do. So there's actually downtown Reno, they just opened up a big climbing gym.
Yeah.
And they're doing that because it's really cheap. The thing about these hobbies that my aunt and uncle do, right? It's not cheap to get started in fly fishing or mountain biking or buying a van. You know what?
Yeah.
You know, like the cheapest one you can get is hiking, but one of the other cheap ones is climbing, and
Right.
something I can get into. And it's a good workout too for your back.
Your back and your forearms, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. There was a couple like, they have like climbing stuff in New York City. They have like a climbing thing. But it's not like it's like rock climbing. It's not even like you're actually climbing a cliff.
Well, the gym is rock climbing, and then you train there, and then you can go out and you're climbing mountains.
Climbing for real.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is about where I live, is I'm close to Northern California, I'm close to Oregon, I'm close to Idaho. So it's like you get all these different states and different mountain ranges and
Uh-huh.
within like your average drive. So it's
Right.
that's something I need to get out. I need to find a hobby.
You find some hobbies.
Besides
Sucks,
jiu-jitsu.
bro.
Seriously. The reason why people live out here is because you have that luxury of being in nature. So
You get the freedom. That's why people moved out west, right?
it's the freedom.
But then when I was in New York City, there was a lot of people from Cali that moved east to New York City. So I feel like it's a double-sided thing,
It depends what you're looking for, man. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's why you got to try things, see what you like, right?
yeah, and you know what? Like right now, Reno's my home, and will it be home forever? I don't know, but for right now, it's pretty cool. Like
And I feel like your ideas and hobbies may change over time, right? That's something I kind of got from your aunt. Like you said, they get into a new thing like every year. Like,
Yeah.
especially that van where they go and they pack things up and they literally just camp out at the desert, watch stars and all this stuff at
Mhm.
night. That's pretty cool. I think that's really cool.
I've joined them before, and it's like it's pretty amazing. Like when you see nature and stuff. They did a study. More brain receptors get lit up in your brain when you're walking in nature than when you do compared to like a big city.
Really.
Like more dopamine and stuff are released when you're in nature. So I went with them, and when you look at if you're out I went to Austin, Nevada with them, which is like 3 hours away from the next nearest house. It's like
Uh-huh.
if you take a dot and go in the middle of Nevada, that's where I went. It was really beautiful, but at night, I've never seen stars like that. It almost looked like the sky was dirty of stars. It was like
Right.
so many. Like in Jersey, like we're walking down the street at night, it's like, oh, you can see a star.
Yeah.
Like out there, like you're seeing different planets.
Ugh.
It's almost like someone took a handful of stars and just like dusted the sky with them. And it was like really
Threw them around, right?
Jersey's like, oh look, there's a star.
Hey, look, there's a North Star.
We gotta follow it.
Follow it. Follow it to DJs.
Yes, absolutely. And then that's it. That's what you do. Two
Yeah.
different worlds, man. Two different worlds.
Yeah, I was happy to be out there and see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time we'll be able to do a lot more stuff.
Yeah. Like that depends on. I don't know what it depends on anymore, man. Because it was like, it should be a vaccine. I don't know. Like,
Day by day, positivity by positivity.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can do. So, it's a really nice place. Johnny's coming to live out with me in a little bit, so he's coming out for a few
Well,
weeks.
that's a good thing with him. He's virtual for college, so he can do it there.
Yeah,
maybe you could help him out. Maybe you could help him out with some of his classes.
Yeah.
No, probably not. He's got some hard classes.
Dude, I have no shot of even understanding what the heck he's doing, but, dude, but the crazy thing about Penn is they raise the tuition and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, no, come on.
Oh yeah, you're not coming back. Yeah, and even NYU did that, and I just don't understand why. I don't understand why they're raising it.
I don't get
Like that's the thing. Like if they raise it, but they're not telling people why. Like if they just told people why, they could have an understanding, but they're not telling people why they're raising tuition.
like what's the point? Like,
I mean, they could say COVID and like they could say that it's COVID. They need to clean the schools and put in protocols. But if they're virtual, then like why?
why is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It doesn't. The world doesn't make sense to me anymore.
That's why like it would suck to be a college kid right now or any type of student. But that's why you gotta make your initiatives and find ways to educate these kids. I'm sure there's some professors that go all in and help these guys, you know.
And then you have the other professors.
Hey, jazz tip of the day. Do not delay the inevitable. That's so like if you
gotta do it, you know, is best for you, and if that happens, then that happens, you know. Unfortunately.
Could you imagine if we were? And that's how I felt like when I heard that Penn went virtual. I was like, dude, come out here. Like, I know you're gonna be bored, and you know, come out here, hang out with me. I'm bored too sometimes. You know, like I'm still trying to make friends. You know, I'm still trying to make friends out here, and I do get lonely sometimes out here, and so I'm just like, dude, come on. I don't care.
But even just having your brother, one of your friends, is good because then, you know, you guys relate more to stuff, and you know, you guys are common in some things, you know, and it forces you to kind of do some stuff when people come and visit you, right?
Yeah, for sure. And well, Johnny would be okay with just.
Yeah, Johnny would just be. He would travel the world and stay on the couch.
Yep, pretty much.
He'd be content. Oh, I'm in London. No, I'm just gonna chill on my buddy's couch.
Oh, just chill here.
Oh, you want to see the tower? No, good. I'll just watch Netflix on the couch. But you're in London, John. What are you doing?
Yeah, and that's the truth. But the thing about Johnny is like he comes off so lazy sometimes, but he's a freak athlete still.
I know, he's crazy. When we were rolling together, man. When we were wrestling and doing some jiu-jitsu, man. He still got it.
He's still fast for like his life, like, and he's been training a lot too. So
yeah. No, that's the thing. When he puts his effort in, man, he's got it. He's got it.
And it's pretty funny because it's like, where did this come from? Like, why can't I be like
the silent assassin?
Dude, straight up like God-given talent. Like he has so much talent, you know, and he works hard.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
But it's like. It's so weird because you look at him and he's like doesn't move from the couch for like a day, and you're like, did you do anything today? Did you go to the bathroom? Like, what's up? Did you move? Like what are you doing?
No, but once we encourage him, he goes and does it. You know.
Yeah.
It takes a little more encouragement, but you know, eventually.
The average person, but we can work. We can work on that.
Yeah.
So. It's awesome.
All right, man. It's great catching up with you. Definitely great talk. Hopefully some people got a lot from it, you know, reconnecting with everything. And yeah, man.
Absolutely, dude. And you know what? Hopefully we'll have, you know, a little bit more normalcy and a plan. And as Monday rolls around, we'll have an idea what Tuesday looks like, and then
Wednesday.
Make plans from there, you know. And then the other thing is I'll be home a decent amount, so I'll be seeing you around, and hopefully one of those weekends that you're not wrestling, like you can sneak a weekend out here and maybe catch a show out here. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, wrestle. That's what I was trying to do. Hopefully once shows open up, but positivity for now. That's why on my social media, everything, trying to get positive light out of everything, because that's what we do. We make it happen. Absolutely. You know.
Gotta live it.
We make the light out of every situation. So I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate your time.
Later, brother.
I'll see you soon.
Hey guys, Joey with your jazz tip of the day. Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. Have a good one.